Hello and welcome to another, but the final episode of Global Littlewargame League. Today we're going to be bringing you the last match that is left to play, but before we hop into it, here's once again the reminder of the map pool. It's the ranked map pool with the addition of Thieves' Isle, and today we're going to be finishing things off in the Beta League in the finals. It's going to be SlammerIV versus Joshers09, and these two players, one of them perhaps maybe a little bit of an unexpected person, a Slammer unfortunately losing in his group and coming down over here, but ever since then he's been playing pretty well versus his opponent Joshers, and Joshers has been he had a bit of a tough group in the group stages, but has bounced back pretty well to take down El Barto, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. Here's a little bit of that matchup with the stats over here, and once again these might be a little bit outdated, but that's okay, and let's hop straight into it with game number 1. That will be on Ravaged. Alright, spawning in the top left hand side of the map, it's SlammerIV. And spawning in the bottom right hand side of the map is Joshers09. All these players have numbers in their name. SlammerIV, Joshers09, and I guess myself, square root of -1. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Let's talk a little bit about how these players' styles match up. I'd say Slammer is generally considered to be a very solid, a very standard-ish player. Yes, he has some tricky builds, but mostly he is going to be that player that looks to play standard and outplay his opponents. Whereas in the bottom right-hand side, Joshers is a bit more tricky. He's a bit more wily. I'd kind of liken him to someone such as, say, Matthew N, who has a bit more variety in his builds, a bit more of diversity, and we'll see how this is going on. So far, Joshers not throwing down a house, so it looks like it's going to be a fast expand out of Joshers. Slammer is indeed going to go for a house. That's also on the high ground, so I'm not sure if that's intended or not. We'll see how it goes. And a little bit of that early game banter, as there often is. No rush 10 minutes, says Slammer. Is going to go a little bit scout around. And Slammer is going to go for a Rax opening. Whereas Joshers is going to throw down a quick castle. So castle first out of Joshers. I believe Joshers really likes to do a castle first into tower in his natural tower in his main. And he likes to go into a workshop and then mills, if I remember correctly from Pro League seasons of the past. So I remember him doing that on maps such as Sylvan Charm, but perhaps he's going to try it on this map. We'll see how it goes. At the same time, Slammer just going to be scouting around, looking for the proxy that isn't there. And we'll see. We'll see how Slammer decides to play this out. Josh is also one of those people who actually does like to go for that Archer build, something that a lot of players don't actually do, but Josh is one of those few that does go for it. So that is something to be aware of. Perhaps he'll pull it out in a different game. Interestingly enough, no tower just yet. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so it's going to be this build. I assume this is going to be the same build that he did previously. He's going to go for a house, and then he's going to go for the workshops and then mills. I wouldn't say it's the best map. This is the best map for it, to be honest. But yeah, so the issue with going for this sort of build where you go for a fast castle into a tower, into another tower, is that your infrastructure behind it is extremely late, right? You're spending 260 gold, as well as the mining time that's lost, of course, and you're delaying the production of your production facilities. So you're not going to have like a raider or wolves out in any like reasonable amount of time. So that's just something to be aware of. He's going to be ahead economically, but it's not going to be a huge issue, like a huge difference, to be fair. One thing to note is that Slammer is looking... Okay, no, he's doing totally normal things. I was just stressing out here. This raider is going to come in, scout that it is a castle first with the tower, and there's also a tower in the main. Okay, so if SlammerIV has done his homework... Oh, he's going to say wild. So it looks like he hasn't actually done his homework. But I was going to say, ooh, it's going to be a den. So I was going to say that if SlammerIV did do his homework, he should know that this is a, what's it called? A workshop into gyros sort of thing, but it looks like he's not actually going to go for that. But yeah, so I'd say if you're Slammer 4, you have, ooh, he's going to go for a house. Did he do, I'm kind of confused. Because I feel like, okay, he's cutting raiders, which I think is a good idea. So if you're Slammer 4 here, you have two main options. You either say, whoops, that was a mistake. You either go for something like, hey, I'm just gonna go completely greedy. You wasted 260 minerals, or not minerals, gold into getting defensive structures, and I'm just not gonna attack you, right? Or you go for the other option, which is, I don't think you can actually, you're going to be like overconfident in defense. You're not going to expect that I'm going to attack you, and therefore I am. That's the sort of thing. You maybe throw down a workshop and you do some sort of big push. But yeah, looks like Josh is going to throw down 1, 2, 3 dens. It looks like he was perhaps thinking about taking another one. Okay, so 4 dens. So it's going to be basically a 2 base all in after a greedy opening, which I don't mind. But the thing is, Slammer does know that this is a thing. He's seen only 2 of the 4 dens, which is, definitely unfortunate. But he does know that it is going to be just a lot of wolves. And he also has brought in a worker and another worker. What is he going to try to do here? He's throwing down a workshop. He's going to... I see. So Slammer is going to say, okay, this is not going to work out for you. I'm just going to slowly push you with towers and catapults. I wouldn't have minded Slammer just building the workshop across the map as well. This is going to be so far for the catapults to walk across the map, or to, what's the word, drive across the map, roll across the map, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know if it's going to be enough. Like it's just not going to be arriving in time for this push. He's just going to have to rely on towers. And towers are powers, as some people would say. Is that in range of his vision, is the question. That's the wrong number. Here's the right number, yes. So it is going to be in range of Josh's vision. He's going to look to probably deal with it anytime soon. I wouldn't mind just going in. Yes, there are some raiders that you have seen. But I wouldn't mind just going in. But the first tower is complete. We have additional towers on the way. Perhaps yet another one if Slammer decides to go for it. Slammer's being a little bit, a little bit sloppy here. Did take a little bit of damage with these archers to that tower, which obviously you don't want to be doing. The workshop is complete. Is not actually building out of it just yet. All that money is actually going into these towers, and this is going to be a little bit of a difficult hold for Joshers here. He does have some very good options, though. He can pull all the workers. He can pull. He's pulling up a whole bunch of wolves. The thing is, the later and more he waits, yes, he gets more wolves, but he also allows these towers to go up. So maybe the time where he wanted to pull the trigger would have been when there was only a single tower available. But right now, it's looking like it's no. Maybe he's gonna pull the trigger. No, okay. But right now, it's going to be up to 3 towers. The first catapult still isn't done, though. He looks like he's rallied it defensively, so maybe he doesn't want to actually bring it with him to this push. I think that's in range. Yeah, it is. That tower is going to be in range. Slammer does want to cancel it, probably. Or maybe he just wants it to tank for his units. That's not a bad idea. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that is going to be tanking a couple of tower shots. He does need to cancel it now, though. That's or else it's going to die. It's going to die. No cancel there. We have some snakes on the way as well. Josh is just being very pinned in, but I think if he pulls the trigger, especially with these workers, yeah, that's going to be enough. Some SimCity perhaps out of Slammer. No, he's just not going to do that. He does need to repair these towers and make sure they don't get completely bursted down. The workers coming in with a nice surround. He's going to pull the workers from the backside as well at the same time. If you're Joshers, you need to target down the workers. He has this one going down from that snake, and then this worker is repairing this castle. But all these towers are getting pretty low. I think this is going to be barely a hold for Joshers. Perhaps not. He needs to bring these additional units in. Yes, indeed he does, but he is losing a lot of workers to this. Yes, but that does mean he is going to be out of this stranglehold, and the remnant of Slammer's army is going to be cleaned up, and that is a hold. That is a hold. How many workers did he lose? I want to say probably around 8. 9 is the answer. Okay, so that is going to be a hold. It's not ideal. Ooh, that's a little bit sloppy out of Slammer here, losing a raider to the tail end of that fight, and it is a hold. If we look at the number of workers, it's going to be 15 to 20, and I would say probably Slammer's ahead economically. No, it looks like Joshers is still slightly ahead overall, but that's going to change just as I say that. So Joshers did come out of this opening in a little bit of a better position initially because, you know, he did go for that greedy build, but now it looks like Slammer has basically caught up and then some. So we have a bit of a counterattack. Slammer does need to hold position, and indeed he does. I think he can actually squeeze by. Okay, does readjust, but these worlds still will be able to get in. These catapults need to start firing. They were derping up for a little bit there. Are going to try to start firing now. He does want to probably target down the snakes. Yep, and I think this is going to be a pretty nice hold. Joshua didn't quite do the best job of, I guess, target priority and also just identifying the situation. I feel like he kind of overstayed his welcome. He didn't quite do, like, attack what he wanted to attack, I think. But yeah, he is going to be able to do a little bit of damage, not the most, and he is going to throw away that army advantage that he had, though. So that is actually a huge thing. He's also stopped wolf production. It looks like he's going to take a third. He's going to say, I've done enough damage. I'm just going to take a third. And I don't mind that. I wouldn't have minded that at all, especially if he had actually not sacrificed his army, donated his army, but rather he just you know, kept it alive for that map presence. So the thing is, once you lose all these wolves, it does give Slammer the opportunity to take this third base. There's not enough wolves really to contest it. I guess there kind of is, but it's not really enough. But imagine if he had all those wolves still. Let's say he had that, I don't know, maybe it was like 15-ish wolf snakes. I don't know, something like 20-ish supply or something like that. Then there's no way that Slammer would be able to take this base as he's trying to do, or maybe not trying to do, but as he might want to try to do now. And Joshers would have been totally free to just take this third base and chill, right? But in this particular case, I feel like he just doesn't have that army to deal with it. Slammer is going to go for a catadrop. That's going to try to do a lot of damage and get himself further ahead economically. I say further ahead, but it looks like Slammer has been cutting workers, and the workers have been more or less equalized for both players. So... oh yeah, so Slammer taking this third base definitely didn't need to happen if you're Joshers, so a little bit of a mistake for sure. And we'll see how much damage this catadrop can do. Like these wolves all around for Joshers, just keeping an eye on the potential fourth bases, perhaps, these potential attack rates, paths. But is he prepared for this catadrop in the main base? We'll have to see. First Q shot does go on, and yes, so Joshers is going to move away with his workers a little bit prematurely, but just perfectly timed, I guess. Doesn't actually take a single hit. Doesn't want to pick that up. Slammer, a bit of a mistake, perhaps. It looks like he's not quite worried about a ballista coming on the way because he doesn't see the advanced workshop rotating, so it means that there's nothing being produced out of it. A little bit of an attack over here is going to be denied. Yeah, so this catapult drop hasn't actually done too much. It's done a little bit of harassment, but not the greatest, the biggest deal. He does need to pick that catapult up. That's a bit of a mistake there. But yeah, we've kind of equalized into a more or less normal game after that crazy initial start. I would like Joshua just to spread his wolves once again. Slammer is going to notice perhaps that that he left his catapult. Yeah, he's going to go try to pick that up, and we'll see how this goes. These wolves just scouting around, looks like. Yeah, Josh's does one thing that he does have going for him. He has that infrastructure. He has 5 dens already, right? So that does mean that at a moment's notice, he can just go back to throwing down a whole bunch of units, and producing a whole bunch of units, and that's something that he can definitely do. Slammer coming in with a catapult drop. Does want to try to target down these workers. So far, so good out of Joshers, not really taking any real damage. Ooh, that's a little bit of a mistake here. Doesn't need to try to target down the worker with those snakes. Yeah, these snakes just aren't the answer against catapults because, number one, they do less damage to air. I guess minus 2.5. Yep, minus 2.5. And the other thing is that they're very, very squishy. They get 2 shots by catapults. So one small mistake does mean you're going to lose those snakes. Just like that. We have a forge on the way for Slammer, and we have an animal testing lab. This was started earlier, but he forgot to rebuild it, so definitely a bit of a mistake. But that's because he's busy trying to deal with his catadrop, and Slammer not paying attention for a little bit. It's a little bit slow to pick that up, and I think that if Joshua does his micro correctly, a little bit of a mistake there, he might be able to get it still. Yeah, a little bit sloppy there as well, but I think he might be able to barely cut it off because he has a little bit less area to go, you know, Pythagoras' theorem and all that. You guys should all stay in school. And looks like it's going to go down. There we go. That catapult is going to fall. I would like to see his wolves come in and try to clean that up. But they're a little bit out of position for that. Joshers does need to restart this animal testing lab. This is actually pretty huge. He's going to be so far behind on those upgrades. And his vision isn't that great either. Like, he has a whole bunch of wolves. He needs to spread them out, I would say. And that looks like that's going to be a huge opportunity for Slammer, actually. He's just going to be able to walk across the map without Joshers really knowing. Joshers is taking a fourth base at the same time. He's also trying to deal with this catapult drop in his main base. Not quite moving his workers out just in time. Looks like a single kill so far, but that is going to be denied. And once again, this wolf spread not being ideal for Joshers does mean that this army of Slammer 4 is going across the map being unnoticed, and that's something that you really don't want if you're Josh. Is this in range? No, it doesn't look like it. Josh is not able to see that army just yet, and it looks like Slammer is going to try to do a bit of a slow push, perhaps throw down some towers and slowly expand his territory of influence in the front of Josh's base. Joshers has no idea this is going on, by the way. That's definitely a mistake. You really need, as Beast, you need to have that map control. You need to have that vision. But this is gonna tip him off. These workers are gonna see what's going on. He sees a workshop being built. He sees a handful of units as well. So that means the gig is up. He's bringing all of his units back, perhaps. Yeah, it seems like it. And he's going to try to go for a big surround on this army. We have towers almost complete. This is a very nice workshop placement, by the way, limiting the surface area on that watchtower. And this is looking like a very scary army. At the same time, though, Joshers can't just pull the trigger immediately because it looks like he doesn't have the numbers quite to do so just yet. But the longer he waits, the more watchtowers are going to go up, the more scary this foothold is going to be. I love that he has these units in the middle of the map just to take care of any reinforcements. Josh is going to pull the trigger right now, not coming in with the left-hand side units. That's a little bit of a mistake for sure. Does need to try to get on top of these catapults, or at least do some make them do some friendly fire. A little bit of flank from the backside, but that's not going to be able to do too much. These snakes are so fragile against these catapult shots that they're taking a ton of damage, and it looks like Josh's army is more or less going to be completely decimated. He's not going to be able to break through these towers. And if you look at the supply, it looks deceptively close, but these towers are going to be they don't cost supply, right? So they're going to be a lot of DPS, a lot of tanking potential that is not in the supply, right? Josh is going to come in and try to snipe a worker or two, it seems like. Does get one, but loses a handful of wolves, snake. At the same time, Slammer going to go for a fortress at the same time. And I said that at the same time twice. And just more units. And I like that Slammer isn't actually just fully rallying his units across the map. He's actually sending them in waves so that there's a bigger opportunity, or there's less opportunity for his opponent to pick off reinforcements. So he's doing it in a very slow, methodical way, and I think that's great. And yeah, we have a very scary army. We don't have enough wolf snake to really deal with all of this. If it was just the army, sure, for sure. But these these towers are absolutely anchoring this position on the doorstep of Josh's. One thing I do want to note is that Slammer isn't actually producing out of this workshop. He can definitely use that to produce, but is not actually going to be doing so. And now Slammer is knocking on the front door. There's really not much he can do. I do think that Josh's going up to the high ground with his army is not a great idea. I would have preferred if he had, spread them out towards perhaps the left side, because here there's only one way that you can go down, but if here you can potentially go from the back or something like that. So I do think that's definitely a mistake. We had a little bit of an evacuation from the units on the top side, it seems like. A little bit of a scatter drop at the same time. Going to try to target down some more workers. Not able to do so just yet. Does get that shot off very nice. I think he Q-fired that. Did get a worker there. Does not quite get another worker, even though the fire does go on. And Josh is, he's more or less dead. This fourth base is doing absolutely nothing. His natural base is dead. He has 3 workers at his third. And this is going to be it. There's no real way that he's going to be able to break this. He's going to have to try, though. Good evacuation on those workers. Going to be able to mine from his 4th base. Very, very nice move with that airship there. And I like that he's doing this. I like that he's taking the wolves. He's going to bring them to the low ground so he can get a better surround. Maybe he's going to go for a counterattack, it seems. And yeah, it looks like he's just going to go for a counterattack on the other sides of the map. He's going to say, okay, I'm kind of dead in this main side, in the main hall over here. I'm just going to try to do whatever counter damage I can. And we'll see if that's going to be enough to keep him in this game. But I don't think that's going to be the case here. We have a little bit of a fight. This is not all of Slammer's army, and it's very disjointed. He's not fighting with this tower, so this is going to be a very nice fight for Joshers, even with this chokehold. His SimCity working against him a little bit, perhaps. And all these units here, they're just kind of chilling. They're not really doing anything across the map. He sent them across the map quite a while ago, but he hasn't actually been able to do any real damage so far. More soldiers going to try to come in. There is a tower from that early game that's going to try to deal with it. Here's that drop into the 3rd base. This might be able to do a little bit of damage. It's a very cute pick up and drop. He might be able to take down the tower, but at home he's just lost his entire army, and or at least his entire army in his main. Workers are going to probably be able to deal with this. Yep, there we go. And I think that's going to be lights out for Joshers. He has no economy. He has no real army to speak of. And I think he's going to be able to maybe try one last-ditch effort to hold, but that's not going to be enough. And looks like Slammer's going to take this game. This was a very well-executed game out of Slammer. He saw what his opponent was up to. He did a very nice chokehold, slow pushing with towers. It shows his flexibility, his experience in the Littlewargame. And then he just didn't lose from there. One thing I do want to go back to in this game is Josh is just being too aggressive with his wolves after breaking the 3rd base here, or after breaking the towers in his natural. Because if he really, in my mind, if he doesn't do that, there's no way Slammer takes a 3rd, right? So definitely that was probably the biggest mistake out of Joshers. Definitely a mistake, but that's okay. And we're just going to head into game number 2. Slammer up 1-0. Ooh, Norm is online. Very nice. Haven't seen him in a while. Let's go into game 2. That's going to be on Thieves' Isle. And spawning in the top left-hand side of Thieves' Isle. Up 1-0. It's Slammer 4. And in the bottom right-hand side of the map, he didn't actually build a worker just yet, Slammer, by the way. It's going to be Josh's Slammer. Slammer. He's going to pull out the Fast Fortress build. Last time he did this against Stevenator in the semifinals of the Beta League. So the map before. Perhaps Josh's is aware of it. Perhaps he isn't. We'll have to find out. It was actually very similar to this map in a way. You kind of proxied. It was on Sylvan Charm. He kind of proxied like here-ish, and then Stevenator used the ledge to jump down with his raider, and he was able to scout it more or less immediately. And his whole plan was foiled. But in that map, I believe, Slammer did end up winning, but we'll have to find out if Josh is going to be able to put himself in a good enough position, just like Stevenator was able to do. And this is actually an excellent map to do this build on, because once again, I want to draw your attention to all this dead space. There's so much dead space in this map, in air-wise, where you can just kind of, as soon as your dragon is weak, you just pull it into the dead space, you hold position it, and it's not going to die unless your opponent has dragons or gyros of their own. So the ballista won't be able to actually deal with it. Neither can any of the other units, such as snakes or archers, because you just don't have any range. Not any range, but they don't have enough range. That's the proper term. Here's that fortress, or here's that worker that's going to build this dragon's lair. Proxied all the way in the bottom of the side of the map. And he's going to try to just rally all those dragons in one by one, try to get as much damage as possible, but also keep them all alive so that they can come again to terrorize the worker line another day. Joshers Might be going for the archer build, judging from his rally point here. Yeah, he is once again, like I mentioned in the first game, he is one of those players that does like to go for the archers in comparison to some of the other players who basically only play raiders as an opening. Josh is actually going to go for something that is a little bit, I guess, new school in a way. I actually don't personally like this at all, but he's going to go for the racks into a castle without building a unit out of the racks. So not my cup of tea, but if it works, it works. And he's going to be ahead. So, yeah, he's going to try to get ahead economically. But in this particular matchup, I do think this is one of the worst build order matchups. I wouldn't say it is the worst. I would say it's probably one of the worst. Slammer's going to finish this, so this is a bit of a mistake out of Slammer. You can actually leave this on like 99% and just you know, save it perhaps for another day. If you don't need it, you can cancel it and just go for a base or something like that. But it is going to complete it, doesn't want to be caught unaware, I guess, or he maybe missed the timing for it or something like that. But Josh is going to go for these archers rather than the raiders. So even though these archers are going to be a bit delayed in comparison, he's going to still have some anti-air. And we'll see how this goes. So the question is going to be, does Slammer go in immediately? It looks like it is. And if so, how fast can Josh's react to it? He's going to go for a bird for the scouting information. So another thing with this sort of build is that if you do go for these archers, you're not going to have the scouting information that a raider gives you, which means you're just not going to have that information by scouting. You're just going to have to be able to play reactively. Here's that first dragon, and yeah, it's go time. He needs to throw down a advanced workshop immediately. One thing that you can do if you're Joshers here is the worker that you're targeting, you bring it out of the mineral line and just hold position that there, whereas the rest of your workers try to continue mining. Is going to more or less do that. He's just going to pull it away, I guess. This bird, did that see the dragon's lair? Yes, it did. Okay, cool. So now he knows where it is. So that's a little bit of valuable information. It's not going to come into play just yet, but this is going to be a very difficult hole for Joshers. But at the same time, Slammer does need to do a lot of damage. He doesn't really. Because this build is actually very not ideal economically because you stop at 7 workers initially. But Slammer's been very diligent. Or perhaps Joshers has... no, he went for... Okay, it's okay. Either way, we have that advanced workshop starting to be produced. It's just about, I'd say, 25%, 30%-ish done. And these dragons, once again, once they are a little bit low, they can just hang out in the dead space, fly and roost, except they don't have to roost, and recover some of that HP. A little bit of a mistake here out of Slammer, I'd say. He kind of came in for this angle where there were a lot of archers, but not the hugest of deals. I like that after splitting his opponent's army, he's now consolidating his dragons. So now he's going to have a majority on one side where he has more army than these archers can deal with, which is going to force these archers to come, which means he's going to have another backdoor entrance where there's nothing. So this is just some very classic textbook RTS multi-pronged harassment out of Slammer. Very, very nice. Doesn't want to pull that away, doesn't want to lose that just quite yet. And this is a very difficult build order matchup for Joshers, and I think this just might be it, honestly. But at the same time, we do have the Ballista coming out very, very soon, so we might be able to stabilize, potentially. We'll have to see. And these dragons are going to get more and more value as they regen health and come back another day. So far, 5 workers, 1 bird, and 2 archers have gone down. And things are looking pretty good here for Slammer. And he's also looking to take a natural base. So, he's going to try to get ahead economically after all this aggression is eventually dealt with. There's that first Ballista. It has now popped, which means that Slammer does need to be a little bit more careful when he's coming in to attack. That might get a single shot off, not quite. And once again, the map geometry here going to be a huge factor. It looks like he's going to try to perhaps reconsolidate, go for the natural base this time. And yeah, so far, Slammer not losing a single unit, doing an excellent job of the pullback micro with these dragons. Does get yet another worker. Very, very nice. Does need to be a little bit careful. These dragons aren't invincible per se. I like that Josh has just said, okay, I'm just going to leave a single ballista here. That should be able enough to deal with it. And all of the archers are going to be on the other side. Slammer's natural base is going to be completing very, very soon. And we have ourselves, you know what? Not the worst position here for Joshers. Joshers still is up in workers. He has lost a ton, you know, yes. But that is just the nature of how the builds line up. And Slammer has done a very nice job of the dragons. So I'd say it's just a pretty even game. But I do think that these dragons will prove to give a lot more utility overall. He's going to see that airship and just get out of there and try to save these alive. At the same time, it's coming in with these dragons on the main base. But yeah. These dragons are going to get more and more value over time as you keep them alive, as the game progresses. That ballista is going to pop, which means that this might be a little bit too dicey for him to stay. Ooh, does escape with both of them. Very nice. Oh, that's a mistake. He doesn't want to come back in. Does lose a dragon. That's the first dragon that has gone down so far in this game for Slammer. But he definitely didn't need to lose that, so a mistake there. What I wouldn't mind is Josh is just actually picking up a handful of units and just going over here to deal with this dragon's lair. This is especially now that most of these dragons are pretty low. Maybe you might be able to do it. You like bring one ballista as well as, you know, some archers. But I guess that is kind of risky. If you get caught, you know, you might be able to you might just get destroyed, and that'll be GG. Slammer's going to transition into some workshops. So he's going to try to go for a little bit of mech. A little bit of a sloppy drop over here. It should have probably dropped it a little bit closer towards where the dragons were. So definitely a bit of a mistake here out of Joshers. It's also, okay, there we go. There's that explosive shot. I was going to mention that. And another worker snipe for Slammer. 12 workers gone down so far, along with a bird and 4 archers. Very, very nice. Slammer brought all these dragons all the way back home. Not quite sure if that's the best idea. Maybe I would have preferred just keeping them in the dead space. That dragon might be able to go down if he target fires correctly, but Slammer being able to put that away. Yeah, he's going to survive with all these dragons. And yeah, this is what I was suggesting Joshers might be able to do. Just drop a handful of units over here and just prevent those dragons from coming in. Here comes the ballista, though. Okay, it does not quite target the correct one, so that does mean these dragons will still be able to stay alive. And these dragons have been an absolute thorn on the side of Joshers. And yeah, once again, look at that. The dead space over here means that Joshers is unable to deal with these dragons. And yeah, you really don't want to see this if you're Joshers. Perhaps he's going to try to pull the dragons away, but hold position has been held by Slammer. So yeah, those dragons are not going to leave until they absolutely need to. They're just going to come in another day and try to do a bit more damage. Slammer even taking a third base at the same time. He's also going for some more catapults. Looks like he's going to try to tower up the ramp here. And yep, that's exactly what he's going to do. And yeah, he's in a great position. Joshers doesn't have the economy that he wants. Joshers also doesn't have, you know, anything to really go across the map with. He doesn't have that bird, which he lost. He doesn't have any sort of raider or anything like that. Or he's not able to really do anything. One thing he does have going for him is he was able to take care of that dragon's lair, which means that his dragons, or the number of dragons that he sees right now, are all of them. And yeah, even a pickoff like that, a pickoff like this, does mean that Slammer's dragon flock has no longer you know, it's no longer a flock now. It's more of a, I don't know, maybe a family of dragons. 5 dragons just left so far out of the 8 that were built in total. And Josh just feels comfortable enough to take a third base. Okay, This airship gonna come in and try to get a scout is gonna fly straight into a watchtower. That's not ideal. I love this house placement, by the way. Very, very nice. Did Josh just get a scout on the unit composition? Yes, he did see a workshop, so he knows it's going to be some sort of mech follow-up. So he knows kind of what's up. He's going to throw down a Rax, though. I don't know how confident he feels. I feel like a lot of players do think that Rax is a little bit harder to play into mech than any of the other factions, and we'll see if that is how Josh's feels. I guess he doesn't feel that way because he's willingly going into it. No, he's going to throw down a workshop. So we're going to try to go a bit of a... Ooh, this might be a little bit risky for Josh's. He doesn't have a worker to deal with this or to repair this. And that does mean that this airship might be able to go down. Dragons are slightly faster than airships. He's going to have to be forced to drop it. Yeah, is going to get the airship, but he does save the ballista, thankfully. And yeah, the dragons aren't going to be able to fight into that. We have a third base complete for both players. We have the remaking of a Dragon's Lair for Slammer. He's going to try to look to rebuild his dragon flock. And he had some more catapults on the way, it seems like. One thing I do want to note is that all these catapults, I feel like players tend to overmake catapults. I feel like, you know, the Gatling gun is actually a really good unit. Well, maybe not the Gatling gun, the Caltrops, to be precise, but I feel like maybe it might be worth mixing in a little bit more if you're a mech player, and you'll be surprised by the results, I'd say. I like that he, instead of trying to go all the way around with his ballista, he's just going to try to take down this workshop just to save it. That way, he's not going to be in a... Oops. My hand is slipping. Not going to be forced to really, you know, potentially expose itself to the elements. Yeah, after all that excitement in the early game, it looks like we're settling into a bit of a passive mid-game here. We have people just macroing up. We have the first forge on the way for Slammer. At the same time, Josh is going to throw down his second workshop, whereas Slammer already has 3. So a little bit of a harassment here out of Slammer, but is going to lose a dragon for it. So, and once again, this is another dead space. Yeah, you're not going to catch those dragons. No siree. Okay. Slammer does have a huge catapult army, though. This is a very sizable army. This is going to be very hard for Joshers to deal with, especially with these archers. They're not going to be able to do too much. Yes, maybe if there's only like 1 or 2, you can definitely micro against them. But with this amount, with what is this, 10, 12? That's the wrong one. 11. Yeah, 11 catapults. You're not really going to do anything. These archers are going to absolutely be melted. But yeah, no real, I guess, harassment out of Slammer. He just is now finishing the advanced workshop, so I guess he can't do cata drops. But he's been pretty passive with these dragons in the past little while. I guess he wanted to regenerate the health on them a little bit more before coming back in. But he's going to hit the main base right now. Good pull out of Josh's, being very quick to do that. He's going to try to respond with with these archers rather than the ballista. And Slammer's just going to fly away. I wonder when Slammer's actually going to walk across the map with this. Maybe he isn't. And also, I think if you're Joshers, you want to be more... Okay, there you go. He's going to go across the map right now. If you're Joshers, you really want to be a bit more aggressive with those soldiers. You want to see what's coming a little bit better. Josh is going to try to catch a dragon. Does take it down to about half health. These dragons are going to come into the natural base of Josh's and going to try to do a little bit of damage there. But this is a huge army. Workers are being pulled for the repair, as you should, which is very nice. A lot of players do forget that because either A, they're busy, or B, they just don't think of it. Sometimes they like bring them, put them on auto repair, but they're like repairing buildings as they come, so they get kind of stuck. Slammer for getting a handful of these workers there. These dragons are going to be taken down, it looks like, more or less, but that's just a distraction for the main army of Slammer. Here he comes. This is a very tough ramp to go up into, though. These dragons will give the high ground vision, though, which is very, very nice. And Slammer also throwing down a handful of watchtowers. Does need to pull those workers back into the fight. Looks like Josh is just going to throw down... oh, he did lose all those ballista. I was going to say he's going to throw down the ballista and take care of all the dragons, but the ballista end up falling first. I love this move out of Slammer, going up to this high ground ledge so that you get A, high ground vision, and B, your opponent might not have high ground vision if you're coming from the bottom side. You also get a bigger concave, so all pros for Slammer going up onto this high ground. And yeah, this soldier catapult army is trying to deal with it, but I don't think that's going to be quite enough. This is a very nice position for the soldier. Going to be able to induce a little bit of friendly fire damage. There come the 4 workers that were chilling, idling in the middle of the map. They're now here. I think this is going to be it. Slammer is going to take game number 2, it seems like, with a very nice cheese, with some excellent control and good understanding of the map, going for that dragon fortress first build, and following up with a very nice mech push. This is, yes, difficult to go up this ramp, but it's kind of over. Look at the supply, it's double the supply. These archers aren't going to be able to do too much, and yeah, this might be it. Cat drops coming in. Not really much to do here, honestly, though. There's only 4 workers here. Cat drop into the main, though, does get a bit more damage. And this dragon is still alive as well, dealing with some of these workers at the 3rd base. And Joshers has more or less fallen apart in this game. I think he's about to tap out. So what does Joshers need to do in the next game, perhaps? GG, well played is called. What does Joshers need to do in game number 3? I feel like he's kind of been picking builds where he's on the defensive side, right? And I think that makes sense against Slammer in the sense that he generally tends to be a bit more passive, generally tends to be a bit more reactionary. But in this series so far, he's taken the initiative both games. He went for that nice little tower push in game number 1. He went for this nice cheese. We'll see what he goes for this game, though. Game 3 is going to be on Cursed Temple. And spawning in the bottom left-hand side of the map, up 2-0. It's Slammer 4. And spawning in the bottom right-hand side of the map, down 0-2. He needs to find something new. It's Joshers09. So yeah, I'm thinking that Joshers might try to do something really aggressive this time. He's been trying out, I guess, just playing more or less standard. Trying to be a little bit greedy and get some advantages in that way. But things have not been working out so far. So perhaps this is the time for Joshers to play a little bit more aggressively. But we'll see how this goes. Both players just going to throw down a house. This is a little bit late, but not the end of the world. And I'm really curious to see what these 2 players will bring out on this map. Perhaps some sort of mech push? I don't know. We'll have to find out. No Worker Scout just yet. This might be the best map to Worker Scout because of the very small, very short rush distance. Actually, yeah. As I say that, Slammer is going to Worker Scout. Yep. Okay, so we have a racks opening and a racks opening. Okay. Is it going to be Raiders? If I had to guess, Josh is probably going to go for the Archers again. He's a big fan of the Archer build, and I'm proud of him. yeah, we'll see if that's what he decides to go for. Slammer's gonna come in, gonna see this timing. He's gonna see that it is indeed a racks opening. Gonna do a little bit of harassment. Nothing major. And he's just gonna leave. This does delay the opposing racks a little bit, so that's something to be aware of. Slammer did cancel. Okay. I was going to say he started it and then canceled it. He's going to restart it right now. He's going to go for an archer. Josh is also going to go for an archer. So we're going to have a bit of an archer build battle on both sides. And in this particular case, I'd say it generally favors the player who is a bit more passive because you just have more archers on your side of the map. And I think maybe if Slammer recognizes that Joshers is someone who is very likely to play archers if he's going for a racks opening, maybe he just knows that and he's going to say, okay, I'm just going to stay on my side of the map. And eventually when you do go across the map with your archers, I'm just going to be able to deal with it very easily with a slight advantage in archer numbers. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Josh is going to throw down a castle. It seems like it's going to be a little bit faster than his opponents because of that early worker scout, which makes sense. And Slammer is going to look to take it right now. Why does he have another worker, though? What is this? Is he going to go across the map with that? That's very, very cheeky. I don't think that's going to do anything, though. He's going to walk into an archer advantage. Perhaps he's going to try to do, go straight to the middle and try to get an advantage 2 versus 2 with the worker. Yeah, he's just going to come back. So, okay, that's just an attempt. I guess this isn't far enough, though. I feel like he should have went a little bit further because he knows that his racks was a little bit earlier because he was able to delay it a little bit. But I don't know. Also, this is a weird timing for archers to go out on the middle of the map. I guess he was thinking that maybe it was a raider opening. That's why he did this. But yeah, generally, if you do the archer build, you're going to walk across the map with 5 archers. So, we have a workshop on the way for Slammer. He's going to look to do, this is pretty much the standard on this map, to be honest. A lot of players just go for this workshop. And it makes sense. You can defend a lot of things just from the high ground with catapults or from here even. And then just any sort of push is actually really good with just the small rush distance. You can also choke, So not choke, but like create a nice choke point. Slammer walks in, sees archers and says, I'm out of here. Gonna go back to his base with the tail between his legs. But yeah, we have a wolves den out of Joshers. Is this gonna be just avocado style into wolves, or perhaps something a little bit more cheeky? And yes, indeed, it's going to be something a little bit more cheeky. We have a werewolf den. I really like this. I really like the attempt out of Joshers to go for something a little bit more insistent, a little bit more, forceful of a move. Forcing of a move, I guess. He's going to go for some werewolves, and he's going to hope that Slammer is not prepared for it. But Slammer has a bird on the way. This is going to be very, very nice for scouting. He's going to be able to fly straight into the main base and potentially see this. We'll have to find out. He's going to throw down a advanced workshop too, so it's going to be werewolf drops. And we'll see if that is able to do the trick here. Josh is also going for a bird of his own. This is, very standard stuff. If you do go for archers, it's really hard to scout, which is why oftentimes if you do go for archers, you're going to get a bird. And these birds are going to fly across in the middle of the map. Joshers does need to try to deny this with the scout with the archers, though. We'll see if Slammer is able to get a glimpse of the units. He's going to see the archers. Is going to fly away. Going to check the bottom right-hand side. Does not see anything amiss. So Slammer does not know that it is it's going to be this sort of werewolf drop. At the same time, Joshers is going to come in, is going to get the scout. So Joshers is doing a little bit better bird control, perhaps. The bird is the word here for Joshers. Is going to see the catapults. Is going to see the advanced workshop. Is going to lose his bird, though. Definitely a sloppy little mistake, but it did what it needed to do. He knows it's going to be a cata drop on the way. Slammer still hasn't been able to really scout with his bird. He hasn't actually seen anything just yet, so this could be a fast third base potentially. I don't know. Slammer has no idea. It could be something else. He does need to try to get that scouting information. He's going to check the thirds, it looks like right now. We have that first werewolf on the way. He's also supply blocked his Joshers. He doesn't have... Okay, there we go. That house finishes just as I say that. We have a bit of an attack coming in here for Slammer. It looks like 4 archers along with 3 catapults. It's a pretty scary army. Oh, he's just... No, he's saying nope. Okay. So I guess he scouted the third. Or this third, and didn't see anything, so he thinks, okay, I need to play defensively. I don't mind that actually at all. This bird, is that going to be able to finally get the scout in? Not quite. It does see the second racks, but that's still a little bit suspicious. That's not quite enough production facilities, but I guess he kind of knows that it's going to be some sort of aggressive play, perhaps. I don't know. But he still is a little bit wary. He's still going to take a third base, though. I would say that's a little risky, especially if you don't know what your opponent is up to. But that's just his decision. He's going to load up that werewolf and try to go across the map. I like that he's going into this side of the map instead of going straight across, because maybe there's some archers or a bird or something getting a scout. Slammer is really paranoid. He's thinking, okay, what's up? He's scouting around with this bird. He's scouting out with these archers. Will he see this? Not quite. That's not quite in vision. He's also going to try to do a frontal attack is Joshers, and this is going to be pretty scary. Joshers is probably going to see this third base, and I'd say the correct decision is not to drop this werewolf. He might do it. Okay, there we go. He is going to drop it, but that does mean Slammer does get a little bit more time to just understand what's going on. Yeah, he cancels the workshop, going to throw it on a tower, and this is a valuable time. Yes, maybe it's just a second or two, but this is still some valuable time. At the same time, we have Slammer coming in with a cattle drop. We're going to have to see how much these drops can do on both sides of the map. Slammer going to come in with his cattle drop at the same time. So far, a werewolf has gone down. Here's that cattle drop. Q fire onto the mirror line, needs to go down. Joshers is paying attention. He's going to run away. Smash onto the natural light of Joshers. So far, not a huge amount of damage. Oh, that might be a huge shot. Slammer does need to be a little bit careful with this. Okay, so no more damage coming on in Josh's side of the map as of just yet. But this is still doing a ton of damage. I feel like Joshers might actually just do it. He has this werewolf tanking a ton. He also has a werewolf and some archers to deal with this. I think Joshers might be able to do it, but this tower is going to be able to finish. That just barely might turn the tides enough for Slammer. And this is that perhaps 5-10 second difference that this made. That Joshers dropping that werewolf's den meant that Slammer had the time to reactively put down that tower, and it was able to complete. Slammer's cattle drop so far has done no kills. So he has done a little bit of harassment, a little bit of damage, but no kills so far. He's going to lose that worker as well. So excellent defense at home from Joshers, but a little bit of a mistake just dropping that werewolf a little bit early. And yeah, maybe if he didn't do that, he would have just straight up won the game. But let's take stock of the situation here, right? Slammer wasn't able to do anything with his drop, but he did take a lot of damage so far. 8 workers going down. So I'd say Josh is definitely in a prime position. He's also taking a third base at the same time, because why not? And yeah, he's looking pretty good. Slammer's going to try to find a bit more damage with his catapult drop. We'll see if Josh is paying attention so far. Not yet. Okay, he's going to pull those workers away. Not going to take any damage, it seems like, unless... Okay, a little bit of damage here. I like that Slammer is bringing this ballista. Number one, it seems like he actually killed the airship. Yeah, he did kill the airship, so he knows that there's no potential for any sort of werewolf drop on his side of the map. So just bringing this in to kind of deal with any sort of air units on this side of the map was a great idea. Unfortunately, not coming into any use at the moment. And okay, so Josh is going to be in a very nice spot. He's going to be very happy with how this opening went. Perhaps not as happy as he would have liked, but still he's in an excellent position. I like that he's kept these archers here, by the way. Maybe it would have been better to spread them a little so you get vision with the middle of the ground. Slammer's going to take a third base, but this is definitely delayed. That bird of Slammer is going to go down. Look at all that that bird Ugh, unfortunately not able to get a little bit of scouting. Here comes that cattle drop again. Not able to find any damage. Josh is on top of his worker, on top of his worker micro, on top of his mini-map awareness. Very, very nice. Ooh, a little bit of Q fire there, though. Those are the first workers going down. 3 kills over here. But that's still not going to be enough, I think. And with this ballista here, I think this is going to be cleaned up. Yeah, it seems like indeed it will. At the same time, looks like Josh is looking to potentially deny this third base. Instead, it is here, though. So he's going to check this base as nope. Did he see this, though? Okay, I think he barely saw a glimpse of that. I'm not 100% sure, though. Yeah, only 3 workers going down. So Josh just has been on top of his catapult defense. Drop defense. He's going to come into the natural base. Perhaps he didn't see this. He doesn't know that this is a thing. That might be why. This is a little bit of a miscoordinated attack because half of his army is actually chasing some of these workers. So not the best situation here. He's going to drop a werewolf into that pocket of that natural. Pocket of the pocket expansion. A little bit of wordplay there for you. And this attack actually not ending up doing as much damage as I thought it would. Because I really thought... maybe if Joshers had decided, hey, I'll just attack into the third base. Of course, he didn't have vision of it. Or, hey, I'll just completely attack into this base. He would have been a little bit, he would have been able to do a little bit more damage, but not able to do as much as he would have liked, perhaps. Joshers does need to transfer his units over to the third base, though. Yeah, Slammer's having a little bit of a difficult time just defending. This is not ideal for him. He's gonna throw in a mill in hopes that he will get a little bit of that air control. That werewolf going down does mean that he's gonna be able to retake this. And this watchtower is absolutely putting in the work. 6 kills on this watchtower. Very, very nice. And I'm sure at least 2 of them are werewolves. So he's gonna lose this archer as well as Joshers. So not ideal. And Slammer has gotten away with this third base. I don't think Joshers knows. Oh, he does know about it now. I wonder when he got a wind of that. But I would say still Josh is in a very nice position. It's not like as good as it was a couple minutes ago, but I still think it's in a very nice position. He's in a very nice position. He has had the better economy for the last little while. He's been mining a bit more, which is nice. I guess not right now, though. Hello, what's up? Oh, no, I was looking at the wrong one. I'm sorry, excuse me. I flipped these players in my heads. But yeah, Josh is going to take a 4th base in the top side. That archer is going to be hunted down by Slammer. And it looks like Slammer hasn't actually built anything out of the mill just yet. So I'm not sure if that was a mistake or if that's intentional. I don't know. It seems to me like, okay, he's going to start a gyro now. There's a catapult drop, but just a single one. And there is indeed a ballista just responding in time. In the vicinity, and Joshers, yeah, he's been excellent with just dealing with these cattle drops so far. He's done an excellent job. This werewolf is going to come in and try to deal with this catapult. Yeah, there's another catapult coming in, and yeah, once again, Joshers on top of it. Very, very nice. I must say his catapult drop defense has been more or less immaculate, and this is the sort of thing that, you know, if you're the mech player, you kind of, you know, you really need to do because you need to find some damage. But at the same time, if you continue to do this and your opponent is ready, you're just donating what, 320 gold. You're basically donating a castle to them every single time you do this and get nothing, and yeah, you lose all your units. So it's not cheap. It's definitely not cheap. Joshers is playing a little bit too passive, though. I would like to see him a bit more active on the map, and indeed, he's going to try to do that right now, especially after just getting rid of all those catapult drops. But just as I say that, Slammer says, I'm going to come back. Oh my goodness, I'm tired. I'm sorry. My words aren't working. He's saying, I'm going to come back and try to go for more. He's going to go for round 4. Isn't going to be able to find anything just yet, though. But yeah, this is the real story over here. Josh is going to come in with a pretty sizable army, but this is a very nice position for Slammer. If he decides to go into this tower with SimC, he's not going to be able to find much, but I do like this decision to go for the 4th base. I think that's going to be a very nice denial here for Joshers. This catapult drop has been I guess pushed away. Yep, has come all the way back home to try to defend, and this is looking like it's going to be a cancel on this fourth base. Slammer's probably going to be have to force to cancel that, but perhaps not. He's going to try to fight and save this. I'm not sure if that's the greatest idea. Joshers doesn't want to lose these airships, though. Would not be ideal. He is going to lose one of them. Not very good at all. And once again, Joshers kind of doing the same thing he did last time. He's splitting his army at a time when it's not ideal. He had half of his army shooting this castle. He had half of the army fighting the whole of Slammer's army, which meant that Slammer had a very nice fight, even though he didn't really need to. That was a kill, not a cancel. You could tell by the scorch marks on the ground, as well as the sound. That does mean Slammer didn't get the refund that he wanted. Yeah, okay, so these werewolves coming in, try to do a whole bunch of damage. These soldiers getting on top of these catapults means it's going to be a ton of damage as well. He's going to come into the fourth base here. Going to try to target down the workshop. Probably not the best idea. At the same time, this gyro doing a little bit of harassment, but the ballista is there, going to deal with it. And this is a bit of an overextension, I'd say, for Joshers. You know, he's fighting. He's also targeting down the workshops for some reason. With his Rax units, not what you want to be doing for sure. That's definitely a little bit sloppy here. Yeah, that's the tail end of this fight for Joshua is not going as well as he would have liked. He's going to lose his werewolves as well. So that tail end of the fight not very good for Joshua's here. But he's still in a great position. He denied his opponent's fourth base. He still has his fourth up and running. And he's... Okay, did this do damage? It looks like it did. I completely missed this because I was talking 16. No, 5 and... I can't math, I'm sorry. 5 and 6 was 11. I think he got a few more at the end there as well. And I guess that's why he was taking such a poor fight on that other side of the map. He was trying to deal with his catapult drop, which finally did a little bit of damage here. So Slammer finally finding the damage that he wanted. 8 plus 6, so far 14 workers have gone down. And that's going to more or less even up the workers here. Oh, he could have definitely taken down that airship had he attacked with this ballista at the same time. But unfortunately was not able to do so. Slammer is going to take that fourth base once again at the same time. Yeah. Josh's impenetrable catapult defense has been broken. And some damage has been wrought. But it's not the end of the world for Joshua. He still has a decent number of workers. He still has a fifth base on the way. Ooh, it looks like almost lost. Okay, very, very nice of Slammer just to do a little bit of a run by with a single catapult, trying to get a little bit of damage there, but was not able to do so. One thing that you can do is you can actually put down a building here so you have a little bit more vision as the catapults come in, so you have a little bit more time. But yeah, I was saying that he would be okay, but looks like he took a little bit more damage than you would have liked. 31 workers going down so far out for Joshua. He's going to be behind by 11, make that 10. So not the best situation, but at the same time did get this castle going. But this is a pretty scary army. Except it's not quite coordinated. He's just being a little bit defensive. He's going to be aggressive with that gyro and the Gatling guns as well as a single catapult here. Josh is not able to complete this fifth base just yet. Does need to bring this ballista over, these ballistae over to try to deal with it. And with the mech army here, he might be forced to cancel it, actually. This is kind of the issue if you're playing so defensively. Yes, you have to play defensively against the catadrops because you want to deal with them, but it does mean that you don't have really the map vision. Like, imagine if this army was already here when Slammer tried to do this, then there's no way that this mech army would have been able to go across the map for free. We have a catadrop coming in here for Slammer. Hasn't quite dropped it just yet. Is going to drop it right now and try to get some Q fire onto that mineral line. Is going to run away is Joshua, so very, very nice. This is a bit of a one line progression. He's a little bit of a, what's the word I was looking for, like a funeral progression or something. Procession, there we go, not progression. could have potentially taken a whole bunch of damage there, but it's just gonna skedaddle away from all those catapults and gonna try to take down these towers at the moment. And then this Gatling run by hit squad of Slammer is gonna be forced to fall back. And looks like Josh is going to take down this tower, but then I think that's going to be more or less it. I love this this soldier coming in just for that extra vision. Very, very nice. He's going to try to hop on top of this and try to get a huge surround. And I think Slammer isn't paying attention right now. He's going to get a very nice surround, and that's a very nice fight on this side of the map here for Joshers. Does lose the top side because of those Gatlings coming in from a flank. But yeah. And also these ballistas just cleaning up. Oop, doesn't lose that. But I was going to say cleaning up the airship remainings out of Slammer would have been very, very nice. But yeah, so as you can see, these Gatling guns are really helping out against these soldiers. Yeah, once again, just adding on a little bit of that DPS when you're kind of jumped on. Josh is going to try to attempt to retake this base. I love this, though. I didn't catch this. He's going to go for a bit of a soldier run by in the bottom side of the map. Doesn't want to try to keep that airship alive. There we go. And this is going to force Slammer to respawn. He's going to start bringing those Gatling guns back to try to deal with this. He's also kind of targeting down this not the airship, the advanced workshop, which might be able to do you know, it prevents any further cattle drops from happening, which is obviously very good. He does have one on the map though still, so that is something to be aware of. We'll see how much damage that's able to do. This gyro is going to go down. Only a single gyro so far, I'd say. No, I lied. There were 3. But I feel like these gyros haven't been able to actually really do what they need to do. We have a cattle drop in the top side. We have these soldiers being chased down by the Gats. Cattle drop, but Josh is going to be able to respond immediately, more or less. But that is not the best fight. Okay, there we go. That was very close. This is a pretty big map vertically, right? So if you have a lot of space that you kind of need to deal with. Like you have your main base, which is mined out now, so I guess you really don't. But you have a lot of your bases are kind of spread out a little bit more than maybe some other maps you would have. Slammer's taking his 4th base. Josh isn't taking this base, by the way, so not quite sure why. Perhaps he's afraid of it being cattle dropped. It's a pretty nice place to cattle drop, so that might be why. Josh is going to try to throw down with this airship. At the same time, going to try to deny this base. Looks like he's going to get the worker there, but I think with these catapults, perhaps he might be able to defend. Maybe not. With these Gats, for sure, but yeah, okay, this is going to be more or less a cancel here. I love that he's spreading out that one soldier just to see where that army is and when it's going to come. He's going to try to target down that castle before leaving, it seems like, or attempting to leave, but I don't think he's going to be able to leave. He's a little bit trapped, but you know, not the worst trade. You know, taking down that, denying that additional base, always good. But this sort of trade is much better if you're ahead in economically as the Rax player. But Josh hasn't been able to really do that. He hasn't really remade his workers as well as he would like. Now he's back up to even with his opponent. But generally, you want to be really, really ahead. Maybe not really ahead, but definitely you want to be ahead. I also do want to note the upgrade situation, because Slammer is going to continue to build those upgrades, whereas Josh has not gotten a single upgrade nor an upgrade facility just yet. So that's something to be aware of. He's going to be he's going to fall further and further behind. He's now okay. He did go for. I'm like completely out of it today. I'm sorry, guys. He is going to go for that +1 mech attack on that forge. But yeah, this is looking to be a bit of a slow push from Slammer. He loves to do these things. You saw that in game 1 on Ravage, so he's going to attempt to do it here at the same time. This might be a little bit dicey. Okay, he does pull away in time. Very, very nice. And Joshers is going to be forced to fight against this huge mech army. I don't know if he's going to be able to quite do it. We'll have to find out. little bit of Q fire here. Or no, actually he had the vision from the airship on the high ground. These Gatlings are slightly out of position, so perhaps this could be a very nice fight for Joshers, but he is going to be able to pull these Gatlings back. And Joshers thinks otherwise. He's going to just thinks twice about fighting into this, and he's just going to leave. But this is a very, very scary army, and it's slowly encroaching across the halfway mark of this map. So this is looking very, very good for Slammer. He's got a very nice chokehold here in the middle of the map with the towers and the mech units and the caltrops and everything. This is still trying to do a whole bunch of catadrop damage. Oh, economical damage. I don't know how much damage it has actually done, but you know, it's done a very nice job. I love this drop on top of the Gatling guns with these soldiers. You can also just pick up once they're in the caltrops, which is very nice. But yeah, this is looking very, very die for Joshers. I don't know if you can actually hold every single side here, especially with the towers that are being constructed here and there. He's going to try to drop on top of these Gatling guns again, or maybe not. He's just going to go for a counterattack. Okay, never mind. I feel like he had the opportunity to drop on top, but maybe not. And looks like this 5th base here for Joshers is forfeit. He's not going to be able to have this base up and running either. That's, you know, it's at 1 HP. And I think this is going to be more or less it. I feel like Joshers was kind of stuck on his army composition as well, right? As if you're going for pure, like, racks, you want to transition into, like, mages or even just going for some raiders or stuff like that to deal with these racks, these mech armies. But he wasn't actually able to get to that position. He was just stuck on Soldier Archer, which can be done, but it's definitely much more difficult. The Soldier drop is not going to be able to do too much, and these gyros are going to be able to shut them down eventually. And that does mean that I think this is going to be more or less it for Joshers. He tries to make a desperate stance over here at his 5th base, but that is going to go down. He loses his drop, and GG well played is called. Slammer is going to go up 3-0 in this series. I think that was a very, very close game in the sense that Joshers had some excellent early game. He had a very nice opportunity in the early game with the defense against the catadrops. He did a little bit of damage with the werewolves, but unfortunately, Slammer just a little bit too strong in the later stages of the game. And we're heading into game number 4, which could be potentially the last map here. We'll have to find out. Spawning in the top left-hand side of Sylvan Charm, it's Slammer 4. And he's going to go for it again. He's going to have to redeem himself from the last time he played against Stevenator on this map. But yeah, his opponent hasn't been able to take a single map just yet in this series. He's been pretty close, though. It's Joshers09. Okay, we'll see how this goes. So, where does Slammer proxy this time, though? The question is, if you're playing against Joshers, and maybe, you know, your opponent, Joshers, has seen the map that he played against Stevenator, then perhaps he might be expecting this sort of thing on this map, or perhaps not, because he did go for the same build on Thieves' Isle. So maybe you say, oh, you know, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you, sort of thing. I don't know. Did I say that saying right? I have no idea. But yeah, it looks like Slammer is going to go for this more or less the same location. Is going to try to throw down a Dragon's Lair there. Josh is going to go for a workshop opening. This is the first time we've seen Josh just go for a workshop opening. This is not the worst map to do it on, to be honest. You get a very nice chokehold in at the top of this ramp, and you get a free quote-unquote natural. So that's very, very nice. Slammer is going to throw down a... Yep, okay. So he's changed his location from, I believe it was like here-ish, or maybe here. I don't remember. To over here. But yeah, Joshers, I don't know how much research he's done. He might be able to deal with it. Perhaps not. Is going to scout for any potential, I guess, house shenanigans, house glitch shenanigans here. Not going to see any, which is very, very nice. And yeah, We're just going to have to see how this goes. Is going to throw down that tower in his main base, as Slammer, which is exactly what you want to do. Perhaps you'll actually leave it at 99% this time, though. He's going to go for a mill, one base mill. So this is actually a little bit better in the sense that you do get that scouting information. This is still not going to be, arriving in time. But beyond the scouting information, what you do get is something to deal with the dragons for now. And I say for now because they can deal with the dragons in the sense that the workers can repair it, and therefore you can't actually kill the gyro. But you can actually, eventually chip away at the dragons and let them go. But it's not a permanent solution, right? As Slammer, you're going to want to target down the workers. And as Joshers, you're just going to try to deal with the dragons with the gyros. But it's better than just going for a castle first, or not a castle first, going for just a castle into the mill later. So he's going to have a little bit more anti-air in the early stages of the game. Here's that first dragon going to be starting to be constructed. Slammer did go for the watchtower and has completed it, so no fancy tricks over there. Josher's also not going for a house just yet. So it looks like he's going to go for a castle. I feel like he could have gone this castle before going for this. I definitely think he could have. But, oh well. So here comes the first dragon. He's going to walk into this natural and see that a base is being constructed. If you're Josh's, you probably want to cancel that castle. You're never going to be able to hold on to that. And then throw down a tower and also probably a advanced workshop at the same time. He's also doing a very nice job. He's being a little bit stubborn though, keeping this castle alive. He's gonna go for a house. I'm not sure. You really don't want to be going for a house here. I don't think so. No. Okay, so this is a very nice, cute move out of Josh's, but because he kept the one that was about to get targeted down out of the mineral line. But then Slammer did the counter thing and said, okay, I'm just gonna try to deal with this one. Target fire the one in your mind, so that it can do a little bit of splash damage. And I really think Josh should have canceled this castle. There's no way he's gonna actually deal with this. I think that's a straight up mistake. I think it's a pretty big mistake too. And he also went for this house, which I really don't think is the great idea either. You want to go for a tower. You want to go for a advanced workshop. This is not looking very good. Why don't just cancel the castle, please? I feel like he just wasn't prepared for this. He just didn't know. Well, he doesn't know what to do with it against this. This gyro is trying to do its best with this 12 damage per shot, but this is not looking good for Joshers. This is definitely not looking good. And I think this just might be it. A bit of an anticlimactic way. 9. Now we're going to throw in a tower after canceling the castle here. This is just it. 7 workers. That's definitely anticlimactic. A little bit unfortunate. Just not the right response here out of Joshers against this build. I guess he wasn't as prepared as he would have liked to be. And he's at 4 workers now, and that's just going to be it. GG, well played is called. Slammer is going to take the victory and defeat Joshers 2-0. Let's take a look. There we go. That's the end of the Beta League, and that's also the end of the Global Littlewargame League. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had a wonderful time. I hope you that these matches were, a little bit entertaining, or perhaps a lot. And thanks for watching. And I'll be back again one day with some other content, perhaps. Or thank you, and have a nice day.